Hi everybody, RJ here again, and this is a video for step 3 and the final step of the Kait wizard. Now again, I don't want to go into too much detail in any of the modes, but this is by far the most fundamental step of this wizard, and we're going to be creating videos for each of these modes. But for now, I'm going to speak a little bit more holistically about how this step kind of affects Kait as an agent and how, depending on the data that you give and the mode that you choose, how she'll interact with it differently. So first, before anything, I want to standardize what are the fields that are always going to be required. And the first two are the business focus and personality. So starting with the business focus. Similar to, well, what's the data do I upload for Kait? It's going to be, this field is going to be entirely dependent again on what is the use case. In step 2 of this video, I I uploaded a Tesla Model X manual because I said that I wanted to create a customer service agent for a Tesla Model X. So I'm going to go with that example here, but I'm also going to talk a bit about how this would change depending on the use case that you use. So for this example, I want a customer service agent for Tesla, and specifically the Tesla Model X. My business focus, or the main entity that the data I provided for my agent, is going to be around the Tesla Model X. But I want you to think of this more as how the agent is going to look at the data provided, because it's not always a one-to-one. If you can provide data such as a pitch deck, for example, and you're not going to just put as the business focus, if you provide a pitch deck, the name of your company, right? You're probably going to say my Netra Labs pitch deck, because I want to give the agent that context coupled with the command I'm going to give her. And I'll get into that in a moment. So in terms of the business focus, it's really kind of like a guide that, along with the personality, the command, and the data provided as, and of course the mode, it's going to shape her approach. And it's just very, very important, where I don't want to tell you should do X, Y, or Z for a specific scenario, but rather kind of tell you the thought process and how it works overall instead, because I really want you to experiment with this depending on your use case. Now, the second required field, regardless of any mode, is the personality. And with this, it's really more, it's about, well, what is the interaction style? So how is the agent interacting with you, the tone, etc. But also it relates a bit to how it looks at the data. Because in this example, I gave it a Tesla Model X manual because I want that agent to be a customer support agent. Well, a personality I'd probably want for a customer support agent is going to be somebody that's probably friendly, but I also may want that agent to be detail oriented, because if my agent, when they're interacting with my customers or prospects, I may want that agent to be able to answer very specific questions. So I encourage you to play around with this. I don't want you to think it's a huge factor in how it'll be able to respond to questions or anything like that. It's more about the style of interaction, as well as how it kind of interprets the data, but it's coupled with the other parameters that we discussed. So the business focus and personality are two of the three main parameters that you will always set regardless of what mode you choose. That third one is the temperature. Now, the temperature, I want you to kind of think of it almost in the sense of, as it relates to the creativity. And realistically, from a technological perspective, the higher the temperature is, the more creative or more ability to synthesize potential relationships between embeddings than if the temperature was lower. That's fundamentally what is going on. So the higher the temperature is, it opens up more potential relationships, thus more creative responses, but it also opens it up more for hallucination. So a lower temperature is if you want them to really, their agent, to stick to the data provided, use a lower temperature. If you want, for your use case, it doesn't always have to be an agent that's customer facing. If you want an agent that is more creative and something that you're interacting with yourself for whatever use case you're utilizing, I would suggest using a higher temperature, because it's able to synthesize and to be more creative in responses. But those are the three parameters that, no matter what, you will have to configure on step 3 of the wizard. Now, the next part I'm going to get into is the difference at a high level between the modes and their requirements. So I'm going to start first with the default mode, which is Autoverse. Autoverse is a mode where Kait will generate a workflow based upon the data provided, along with the parameters you set, and the command given. And the command is the key point there, where there are only two modes currently where you give the agent a command. All the other ones are currently pre-configured in terms of how the agent will interact with the data. But Autoverse is one of the two where you can provide a command. But again, we want, in this example, the command to be relevant to the data and my use case. So again, in this example, I gave a Tesla Model X manual because I wanted a customer support agent. A command that I would probably give for this agent is that you are a customer support representative who can answer customer questions, resolve issues, and let's give Kait a goal of and schedule a diagnostic if the issue can't be resolved. That's an example of a command where I'm telling the agent what their role is as it relates to the data, entity, and personality given, as well as what is the task or tasks that I want it to accomplish. In Autoverse mode, you can generate the workflow. And what she's going to do in this scenario is take the data given, the parameter set, which is the focus, personality, and temperature, along with the command into consideration, and she will generate a workflow. Now, depending on the amount of data provided, the complexity of all of this, the time it takes for that can vary, but roughly 20 to 30 seconds. And when you view that workflow, if it's something that you want to update, you can simply click on this download sample workflow button. It'll download a text file template, and you'll be able to edit that. And I'll get into that in a moment. But let's look at the workflow that was generated based upon what was given. So I gave a Tesla Model X manual, and I gave Kait a command of a customer support representative who could answer questions, resolve issues, and schedule a diagnostic if the issue is not resolved. So here you'll see that she'll greet the customer and ask how you can assist them today, which you would expect from a customer service representative. Listen to their questions or issues, provide necessary information based on the document's content. If it's an issue, ask for more details to understand the problem better. And if the issues are related to the vehicle's features, such as touchscreen, interior electronics, external panel, etc., this is evidence of how Kait, based upon the command, the focus, and so on given, she's interpreting the data. And if you saw that goal I gave her in the command is to schedule a diagnostic, that's an example of an end goal in a task. You'll see how here she'll confirm the diagnostic and assure the customer that their issue will be resolved. Everything that you would kind of want from a customer support representative, especially out of the box. So this is what she generated autonomously. Again, if you, for whatever reason, you want to create your own, you could download this sample workflow. You'll see it comes in this text file. We provide two different examples as well as the requirements. You would just have to create a text file and provide your own steps, as well as these points here, the steps given below are in chronological order, as well as the steps there. But in most cases, that's going to be a preferred. That's Autoverse mode. Now, the other four modes, let me kind of distinguish the differences, because Autoverse is certainly the mode that has the most parameters in terms of what you have to do, in terms of the command and the generating the workflow and so on. Now, the next mode, Universe, you'll see as I click that the command line here actually disables. And the reasoning for that is because in this particular mode, Kait as an agent, she will only answer questions upon the data provided. Now, for a customer support representative, that may not be a super valuable mode or feature, right? Because you want them to interact with the user based upon their situation and so on. But from a knowledge management perspective, if I want to give my employees a mechanism for asking about their health benefits, or if I have a website, instead of having an FAQ, I wanted to provide a mechanism where anybody can just ask via text or whatnot, be able to ask questions about any products or services I have. Universe is meant to satisfy those problems, where it's a knowledge management or a question answering solution. So the command that is given to her and the workflow she follows is something that's pre-configured by us. So in this mode, the only parameters that you set are the three that are required of any mode, which again are the business focus, personality, and temperature. In this example, The higher the temperature goes, the more ability she may have to synthesize complex responses based upon the question, but it also opens up more for hallucination. So just an important point to mention. Now, the third mode is multiverse, and the difference between multiverse is it's essentially the exact same thing as autoverse, but the key difference being if I in autoverse was to have the chat with the agent with that command that I was given, if I was to ask that agent about tell me why the Tesla Model X is better than the BMW i3, I did not provide the agent the BMW i3 information. So in Autoverse, that they would not be able to respond to that, and it's a form of hallucination management. Where we want to control how the agent responds. In an autoverse mode where it's an agent running autonomously, we may want them to be a bit more contained and follow a more strict protocol. Whereas in multiverse, it's more creative in terms of the potential use cases. The difference between multiverse and autoverse, aside from the relevance and reference of corpus of data, is that in multiverse, you are not able to review the workflow generated or edit it. And the reasoning for that is because the agent can now reference data outside of the corpus provided, in other words, allowing for more creativity, but that workflow will always change depending on whatever is the data provided as well as how the conversation goes. So in this example, I'm just going, because again, I still have the step 2 information, the step 2 data that I upload, which is the Tesla Model X information. I'm going to say the same thing, that you are a, let's say, sales support representative who can convince prospects to buy a Tesla Model X. If they're interested, you will schedule a test drive. Now, I'm unable to review that workflow, but this is the example of providing it a goal. Schedule a test drive, or in the other example, it was schedule a diagnostic, or if I'm a realtor, schedule a showing, so on and so forth. We'll get into the tools in another video that she has access to, but the point of in this command is the role, the task, and the goal. So again, the last is the temperature. If I am using a multiverse mode, I like to be a bit more liberal in terms of the temperature, because I'm using something for more creative reasons. In this example, if I am, I want a sales support representative that'll be on my website, maybe I would put this here at 0, but just to kind of, just to showcase the difference. In multiverse mode, that is all you have to configure. Then you click chat and you can deploy the agent. Now the other 2 modes, social verse being the next one, you'll see social verse, similar to universe, does not allow a command. And the reasoning for this is because it's pre-configured to be a social media managing agent. And currently in Socialverse, that is where the agent is able to post to the relevant social media channels on your behalf. So all the data you provided, again, is still the context that this social media manager will take, but you're not able to configure the commands for this particular mode. So the business focus, personality, and temperature are going to be, the only parameters that you would set in this mode. And what you would do is, when you deploy this agent, is you'll be interacting with this agent and coming up with campaign ideas or tweets, LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, not just for your business, it could be for personal reasons as well. But the corpus of data provided, that you want it to be relevant to whatever it is that we'll be posting about. And you can be creative with this, where you're not just posting information about your company, but you're also, maybe perhaps you're also giving as data your company brand profile or preferences. You can take those into consideration. So it's important to be creative here. Now, the last mode, you'll see that I'm actually not able to enable it, and that is Dataverse. So the Dataverse mode in step 2, where we're uploading the data, Dataverse mode requires the data to be tabular in order for it to be able to analyze that, from a data analytics perspective. So in the second step, you'll see that it has the little check mark at the bottom where it says click this, if it's Dataverse mode. So you upload your CSV file, click that, and then press next. And this option will be automatically chosen. once that happens. The business focus should be specific to, again, what is the entity? How should it look at the data? If you're giving that stock data, you should say that this is S&P 100 stock data. If you are giving it your own company's financial P&L data for the last 6 months, just say whatever your company's name is, 6-month performance data. You could be creative here, and we encourage it. But the point is just that in certain modes, they all interact with the data in a bit of a different way. All of this and all of these examples of me going through these, the data has been exactly the same. The Tesla Model X information. It's just how it interacts with the data and the rules that we set that differ, as well as the tools, of course, that it has access to. So in the next video, I'm going to be going over some of these modes. What are the different tools that Kait has access to in a chat? Some of those vary depending on the modes in which you are utilizing. But in the next video, I'll be going over some of those tools that she has access to and how that chat functionality actually works. So I know this is a bit of a long video, but hopefully it was valuable and it was helpful. And thank you very much. Until the next video.